It is another beautiful sunny Monday morning here. Sunny but cold as all get out. We've been going through such a cold snap. We've been having pipes freezing in the barn and a heater quit working in the house. We have the fireplace going almost constantly. Anyway, it is something else. It's like the long winter, but we have a lot to accomplish today, and I'm actually starting off here with cooking some chicken. I have my big stock pot here. I'm gonna cook the chicken, hopefully to make a chicken pot pie for lunch. And then I also wanna use this broth for something else. So I've recently started doing kefir. It's really fascinating to me, the difference between kefir and yogurt. And this, by the way, if you're watching and you're like, that does not look right, it does not look right. I guess I let it sit out too long when we were away. We left unexpectedly. Anyways, I need to get my kefir grains out of there. From what I heard from my friend, I should still be able to use them, but I'm guessing this might become like chicken feed, the actual kefir, because it's all in like these clumps. And then I also want to get my sourdough starter fed and kind of those like Monday morning things first off. Some of you have been asking if I feed my starter with fresh milled grains, and I do not currently. I've tried and it almost killed my starter, so I'm not quite sure what I did wrong, but I do have a specific way that I like to, well, as specific as you can with eyeballing, but that I like to feed my starter. I used to measure, now I just kind of look and see. I like to do about equal parts starter, flour, and then water. Again, I don't measure. I would say it's a little bit less water because I want it to be like a thicker consistency, because then I've found you get so much better like air pockets in it and it rises so much like bubblier. So I want it to be kind of like a brownie batter consistency. So I'll just add water until I get that. This is about the consistency that I'm going for. So you can see it's pretty thick, but I have found that doing it this way gives me the best like sourdough results in the end. It gets super bubbly and beautiful. So we will let that sit here for the next number of hours to rise and get all happy again. Okay, I do want to get to the kefir here, but it is almost time for Josh and the kids to come in from the barn. And so I really want to get breakfast ready for them. One of their favorites, especially on these cold, cold days, is a nice steaming cup of cream of wheat. So I know I've made that on here multiple times before, but that's what I'm going to do for breakfast today. I'm almost out of fruit as well. We have, I think, a few oranges and lemons left. Pretty much that's it. And so we need to get groceries, but they also love this like a cinnamon raisin oatmeal. So I think that's what we're going to do. I just set my grain mill here to a really coarse grind, and then I'm going to need about a cup and a half of this ground. I like to do 5 cups whole milk and then 1 cup of heavy cream. Just makes it super extra creamy. Should we wipe the table? What does the bird say? To eat. Good. Right note. But what would you add at the end? What have we been learning about? E. Good. Okay, right. Hid. I'm so excited to share with you this stack of clothes. Actually, we'll see how much we get through, but New Flora's February collection is one of the best yet, I would have to say. We're getting in some blues, some pinks, really fun spring colors. If you're new here, New Flora releases a new collection every month, and I love that their fibers are very intentionally created around natural fibers. So we got a lot of cottons, linens. This dress is 100% cotton, and we'll get into that in a minute. If you have your eye on something, I always recommend being there when they launch because they do tend to sell out pretty quickly. You can use my discount code GOLDENHOUR10 for 10% off this entire collection or anything on the entire website. The collection releases this coming Wednesday at 2 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. But for now, let's get into all these pieces. So I'm starting off here with a Dublin dress. This is back in the third, maybe fourth different color, and I love this one. It's this beautiful blue floral. See if we can give you a good up close there. It has, of course, the fun like lace detail. This tie, by the way, is functional, so super fun. It is 100% cotton, and it actually has a lining from the waist down that is also 100% cotton. So it's really nice. As you can see, I'm right in front of the windows, and I don't believe you can see my legs. The length hits me couple inches above the ankle, and I'm 5'7" for reference. And then of course the smocked top, front, and back makes it a great nursing friendly or bump friendly option. The Josephine dress has some of my very favorite colors in it actually. We have this beautiful floral print with this like kind of muted mauvish blush and then green. It is such a like dreamy romantic fabric, and the whole dress just has all these subtle details that make it just feel wow. It is so comfortable. This tie is not functional, so this is just like a set tie. You cannot adjust the neckline, but then the bottom of the dress is also a complete showstopper. So we have a couple of pleats coming down here and then a beautiful little eyelet ribbon at the very bottom. This one is a little bit longer, hitting me pretty much at the ankle, and both the lining and the dress itself are 100% cotton, and I'm wearing a small in this one. There are two very similar dresses in this collection, and y'all help me decide which one to keep because obviously I cannot keep everything here, but I have been so excited. And this sweater is the Gold Coast cardigan. The buttons are covered in fabric as well, which is super nice. They do have buttonholes, so it is functional. You could button it as well. The only thing I don't like about this cardigan is that it is not natural fibers. So it has some wool in it, but then it also does have some polyester and things like that. So that's something to keep in mind. And then the dress is actually the Thyra dress, and it has such a pretty print as well. I love that it's kind of a couple shades of blue. This one is like 75% cotton, and then it does also have some linen and some viscose in it as well. A really comfortable piece now as we finish off winter, but then also into the spring and summer months. One last thing I want to show you on this one is the sleeve. I think it's so fun that it has almost a bit of smocking in there, just giving it a really nice silhouette. Before I take this dress off, I want to actually pair it with the Harper sweater. And I haven't seen this in the mirror, so you can be the first judge of whether this works well or not, but I feel like this navy little lining on the cardigan goes so well with these florals as well. They definitely have some of the same tones. We have a little bit of a pop of different color, and then what do you call this? It's like some kind of a knit going on, but then also a tiny little almost ruffle, if you will, right above the cuff. This cardigan is also 100% cotton and a little bit of a cropped fit, and I'm wearing a small in this one. Well, this seems to be my girl's unanimous favorite dress in this collection, but it is such a beautiful one. We've got all these fun pink florals for spring coming up. I am really enjoying all these pops of color. This is the Spring Hill dress. It is 100% cotton, and one of my favorite features on this dress is that the entire neckline is adjustable. So sometimes I find that their necklines tend to run big. I know a number of you have been wishing for smaller necklines, and so this one is a great option because this entire length around the entire neck, front and back, is adjustable with these ties, and so you can literally make it as tight or as loose as you want. The way that the sleeves are done makes it so that nothing is like awkwardly rumpled no matter how tight you go with it. So I really appreciate that about this dress. I tried something new. With my body type, I find that too high of a waist is just not flattering. So I actually sized up to a medium this time to give me a little bit more length this way. And I think it actually works. Tell me if you think it looks too big, but I feel like it fits better. Doesn't feel as up in my space. I don't know if you can see that little ruffle on the bottom, but it adds a fun detail. And this one is a little bit shorter than some of the others. I would say hitting me a good 4 inches above the ankle. This is the other blue floral dress that I was referring to before, and I am noticing a couple of key differences, so we'll go over those here very soon. This is the Wilmington dress, and I paired that with the Knoxville button down. Now both these pieces are 100% cotton, and there would be so many ways to style these. I feel like this dress would go well with that blue cardigan I showed you before as well, but I thought, why not pair it with this button down? This is actually a pretty long, loose shirt, but I want to show you a way to wear it a little bit more structured. And I did get a small, so it is a pretty oversized now I got it wrinkled, but this is what it looks like when it's not tied. You could wear it, you could still wear it with a dress like this, or pairing it with a pair of pants would be cute as well. And then as far as the dress, the first thing probably that you'll notice is that it seems to have significantly wider skirt than Thyra dress. I don't know if that's actually how it is or if it's just more the build of it, but it feels more floofy. And then it also has this ruffle all around the neckline. So we have it in the front, we have it on the side here. Okay, I'm gonna turn you this way a little bit so I can give you a better color. There we go. It has this beautiful blue floral with some green in it. To compare the two florals, this was the Thyra dress. So if you want to see an exact comparison side by side, you can see this one has a little bit more navy in it, no green, and then this one of course has the green and a little bit of a brighter blue. This is the Alba dress. I'm wearing a small in this one, and what a comfortable piece. This one makes me want to have a picnic. It has this beautiful little greenish plaid fabric. This entire neckline, again, is adjustable with the ties, making it an instant win in my books. I love the detail on the sleeve as well. Can we just have a little Pride and Prejudice moment? That is what these sleeves remind me of. I love the detail. It is not a tight elastic whatsoever, just really loose and comfortable. This one hits me just above the ankle. I would say 2 inches above the ankle. It is fully lined, and both the lining and the dress itself is 100% cotton. By the way, if you have certain things you'd like me to cover in these try-ons, it is always a battle in my head over how many little details you guys want and when you're gonna be bored silly. So feel free to leave that feedback down below. I try to make it as concise with as much information as I can, but I love your feedback, so feel free to leave that. And finally, a moment for the neutrals. Oh my goodness, I just feel like going and cozying up on the couch right now. This is such a comfy outfit. I am wearing the Brighton sweater with the Prescott pants. These pants, for one, you can see they are a good length on me. I just have to be careful how I wash them because they are a cotton linen mix, but it's hard sometimes to find pants long enough. So I'm loving that flowy leg. These pants do have pockets, and I am wearing a small in them. And then the sweater. So personally, I love a good V-neck. I'm wearing a small in this one. This one is also 100% cotton, and just the fit of it is so comfortable. Sometimes if a sweater or shirt hangs away, I feel like it makes it look a little bit disheveled or messy. So I love when it comes back and hugs you again at the bottom. And then the Valencia. This is a beautiful brown floral dress. So much detail and character in this one. The smocking goes front and back, making it again a great nursing and bump friendly option. It does have pockets, and this one is a little bit shorter, hitting me, I don't know, I would say almost like mid-calf. And then I thought I would throw on the Margot jacket. Is this too much pattern? Maybe, but maybe not. It pulls from the same colors, and I think this coat is so beautiful. We have, again, a little bit of brown detail. I'm not even sure what you'd call that design, but it has this quilted fabric, which is so fun and just really elevates the jacket. I love the big buttons, which are functional, by the way. Big pockets, which are also very functional, especially if you're a mom of many littles. This jacket is also 100% cotton, and I'm wearing a small. So I know that was a lot of clothes we just went through. I hope that was helpful for you. But for now, it's time to get back to work. Something that I've talked on here a lot, but never actually made on here, I don't think, because I keep getting questions about it. So I thought we should do that this afternoon. Should we make marshmallows? That is our bone broth hot chocolate and marshmallows. I had hoped my chicken would be cooked in time to make that pot pie for lunch. It wasn't ready in time for that, but it's cooked now. So I'm gonna pull some bone broth from that, but I think first we're gonna do some marshmallows. So I got my gelatin here. I would say you can use any kind of gelatin, just make sure that it's a good one. I like this from Perfect Supplements. And the recipe that I'm about to make is enough to make like a 9x13 pan of marshmallows. The girls over here, by the way, are making some horse treats for their pony, which is so cute. She has, what is it, molasses and carrots and stuff like that in there, oats. That'll be good. It'll be fun to see what Flicker thinks. I'm gonna put a cup of cool water in a bowl. And then I'll do a half cup of gelatin. There's obviously so many different kinds of gelatin on the market. You just want to make sure that it is actually a good one. I have really, really liked this brand, and it's actually the only one that I use now. So I'm going to do the half a cup on here. I have a 1/4 cup measuring, so we'll do 2 of those. And then I like to lightly stir that and let that sit while I heat the rest of my water with the maple syrup. I'll add another 1.5 cups of water to my saucepan. Then we'll do about 3/4 cup maple syrup. Can also do a whole cup, it just depends how sweet you want it. And then we're gonna do a little bit of vanilla, I would say around a tablespoon. And then just a pinch of salt. You can just grab a little bit. Yeah. And then we'll just heat this until it's hot. We don't want it to get to boiling, but just good and hot. And then we'll put both this mixture as well as the gelatin into the mixer and whip it. While your mixer is still running, you want to work on getting your pan ready, because as soon as it's ready, it is going to start thickening quickly, and it looks like mine is just ready. Now, I will say it is very easy to over mix it, and when you do, it's gonna not turn out. You'll have a lumpy marshmallow. So I actually like to just do it until the mixture, it kind of like, I would say about doubles in height. It's still fairly runny, but it's gonna set a lot smoother that way. So I'm just gonna hope that my parchment paper stays down. Okay, I don't know if you can see in there, I can't dump it over or it'll spill, but we're gonna go and chill this then for about an hour and it should set. And then moving on to the bone broth hot chocolate, I like to do 6 cups bone broth to 12 cups of whole milk. So this gives a pretty big recipe. We have been enjoying this almost every single day throughout this winter. And so we use that up pretty quickly, but of course you could have the recipe if that works better for you. do a cup of maple syrup, and then a cup of cocoa powder. Okay, and then I don't always add this, but it is a great place to sneak in some even extra like health benefit type things. This is some collagen. It's from that same place, by the way. And I'm just, well, this is almost empty. I'll just dump in the rest, probably about 2 scoops of that. This is also the chocolate flavored one, so it just enhances that bone broth hot chocolate taste. And then we'll just whisk this together till it's hot. It is honestly so simple. I do often like to add in a little bit of vanilla and a pinch of salt. Just helps enhance the flavor even more. As I said, I have had so many people ask for this recipe in my real life that have had the hot chocolate and are like, what? You've got to be kidding. That's bone broth. Normally I do this with beef broth just because we have a lot more beef in the freezer, but it is delicious with either one, I would say. That sunshine and this hot chocolate makes for a very happy combination. That is so good. One of the most asked questions when I asked y'all on Instagram what you wanted to see was gardening, how I go about planting my garden, what seeds I got, all the things. And now I am so excited to get into all of that, to start gardening, to start planting all my seeds. I'm hoping to start a bunch of seeds here soon after we get back from a little family vacation. But as you can see, I went a little bit crazy with my seeds, and I'll tell you in a little bit what all I got. As far as planning my garden, I have come to the point where I don't really plan my garden. I've gardened long enough that I think I have kind of a general idea as far as how many seeds that I need. And then also last year, I very much switched up how I gardened. So to give a little backstory, growing up, my mom always had this giant, like in-ground garden. It was beautiful. She is like the gardening queen, amazing green thumb. And so much of what I know is from her. Is this too dark, you guys? I love sitting in the sun, but then all these dramatic shadows. Anyways, just bear with me. You can listen to this. You don't have to watch this. She is so talented at gardening, flowers, all of it. So a lot of what I know is thanks to her. But then when Josh and I got married, the first year, actually, we lived in this tiny little rental, and all that I had for flower garden space was about a 1 by 5 foot little strip in front of the porch that I was allowed to plant anything in, until my mother-in-law offered that, hey, like we have extra space. I don't need as much. Do you want to garden here? And so I had my first garden at my mother-in-law's house that first year. It was just in ground. It was just a couple of things. I think she didn't want to take care of her strawberries or had too many or something. I remember sitting and weeding strawberries a lot of the time. I didn't have much else to do inside. With no kids yet and just this tiny rental, I wasn't able to go out and get a job because of green card stuff at first. And so that's a lot of my memories of that first year. But eventually we moved into a little bit of a bigger house that definitely had more yard space, and I was able to put a big garden in ground there, gardened there for a couple of years, really enjoyed it. And then we moved here a number of years later. And of course here I also started with that in-ground garden. I feel like always getting a little bit bigger as the family, you know, kept growing. And then a couple years ago, I want to say 3 years ago now, Josh built me these beautiful garden boxes. I was a little bit apprehensive at first because of the amount of work that goes into building these boxes, and I was afraid that what if it's just, you know, one of those fad things? What if it's more of an aesthetic thing that's going to fade out in a year or two, and what if I don't actually like it? And then we've put all this time and money into building these boxes. But within the first year, I very quickly realized that I loved it. Still a couple of years later, I wouldn't change a thing other than maybe I would add a couple more boxes. But I did it that way, planting just similarly to how I had done in the garden for many years, in the in-ground garden, I should say, where I did, you know, cabbages in this box and then tomatoes in that box and carrots in this box. Anyway, it was great because a lot less weeding because you can plant things closer. And then last year, after reading this book, The Kitchen Garden Revival, basically it's where you plant your boxes really full. You plant things a lot closer than what you would typically think. And you also mix the things that you're planting. But it was so much fun. And it was actually my first year ever where fall came and I was so not done gardening. Every other year it was like, man, it was a good year. I loved the garden, but I'm also ready for my winter rest. And this year I may have shed a few tears when frost finally took the last of it in November, which was actually late for us. Do you all actually want to see this giant pile? It'll take me a hot minute. But I like to buy my seeds from Johnny's Selected Seeds. First up, I have some sugar snap peas, which are probably going to be the first to make it into the garden here. And then these are in no particular order. I have some parsley and then Chinese cabbage. We have some red cabbage. I really enjoyed planting a lot of cabbage last year, especially for sauerkraut, which also lasts a long time. This is a giant marigold. Marigolds can be really beneficial in the garden, but they also add a fun pop of color. Some red beets. We have zinnias because those are a real showstopper in a garden, and also the girls really love planting some different flowers. I have Greek oregano. I have some scabiosa. That's another flower. We have thyme, watermelon, which I'm really hoping do better for us this year than last year. Okay, another eucalyptus. I have lemon balm. My mom was telling me about all the benefits of tea made out of that. We have some basil, radishes. That's another early one. I wanted to do pumpkins this year. We have a couple varieties of peppers. These are like a hot pepper. Cosmos, oh my word, showstoppers. We have some zucchini squash. I have carrots, a couple of kinds of carrots actually, and then chives. We have chamomile. Love this also to put on cakes or to make teas. We still have a little jar of freeze-dried chamomile tea from our garden last year, and that is so delicious. I have some violas or like pansies. They're almost the same thing, but they are actually technically a different flower. I love to use those also for like food plating and stuff like that. Cherry tomatoes, sweet peppers, and then some lettuce. This is, by the way, summer crisp lettuce. I have bush beans, and I almost always get the jade variety. I have some cauliflower. This is purple cauliflower. And then I have some spinach. Love this. Dill, and then for my tomatoes, I did big beef tomatoes. I also have Harvest Moon. I should have sorted these before I did this. And then the cherry tomatoes, I think that's all of them. I have some kale. This is the winter boar. I have cantaloupe. So that's my little seed starting haul. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you were inspired, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Bye, friends.
Golden, golden thing.